Knon 89.3 FM in Dallas and Fort Worth, the voice of the people.
Business owners, tell KNON's listeners about your business. You can put your business or event on KNON. KNON currently has space available to run announcements for you. Tell KNON's listeners about your goods, services, nightclub, concert, or event. Help keep the voice of the people on the air while putting your information on the air. KNON's been named the #1 radio station in Dallas by both the Dallas Observer and D Magazine. Put your business with Dallas's #1 station. Call now for more information at 214-828-9500, extension 227. Or extension 233. For more information, go to knon.org and click on the Run Spots on KNON page. It's a great way for your business to support community radio while letting more people know about you.
Good afternoon and welcome to Lambda Weekly. I'm Dave Taffet. I'm here in the studio with Larone Landis and the late Patty Fink. Our guest today is Kay Wilkinson. She's a board member of the Dallas Way and over the years has just done a whole bunch of stuff in the community. We're going to talk about some of that stuff. Kay, welcome.
Well, thank you so much. It's great to be here.
Yeah, thanks for being here with us. You're a board member of the Dallas Way.
Yes.
Tell us what the Dallas Way is.
Okay, the Dallas...
Hold on. Is your mic on? Is our mics on? There.
Try it now.
Okay.
Is it on?
There we are now.
Okay,
Our mics weren't on.
Okay, the mic's on. Great. So the Dallas Way was founded by Jack Evans and George Harris, who are icons in our city. And the whole mission is to gather, to store, and to present the complete GLBT history of Dallas. And Dallas has done it as well as any city in the nation, in my estimation. And better than most.
And first.
Well,
lots of firsts.
Lots of firsts, lots of the best. And the thing that I am the most proud of is that the men and the women and the transgender in our community band together for everything, and we have for years. We hit the AIDS crisis together. We've built the biggest men's chorus with the Turtle Creek Chorale, the women's chorus, the biggest Cathedral of Hope. I mean, we just have amazing accomplishments together. So,
and not to mention black tie.
Black tie
dinner.
Yes, absolutely.
First one in the country.
Absolutely.
And the largest sit-down dinner of any in the city.
In the county, in the state.
Yes.
Largest in the Southwest is what it is.
Yes, I think so.
Okay.
It's a huge feat, and it's amazing.
That's really, really good stuff. And so many firsts, and you guys are documenting it.
Well, that is what I'm an ex-English teacher. I went to school. Yes,
you're
I went
never
to
an ex-English teacher.
Well,
you're always an English teacher.
I was an English teacher in all-level reading, and I absolutely love putting together stories and histories, and I'm just so proud to be part of this collection and this effort. The board of directors, led by Buddy Molyneux, is just an amazing group of people, and the stories and the presenters that we have are amazing. So I will tell you, on September 25th, it is going to be a lineup that is not to be missed. We're having the famous Lori Masters, who, can you believe that?
Wow.
She's going to talk about the Women's Motorcycle Club and
Dykes on Bikes.
and the Extra Mile Award that she founded, and just to be with her will be great fun. And then there's Cece Cox, who is so smart, so intelligent, so committed to so many things, but the Resource Center first and foremost. And Emma Colquitt, who I think is our own Barbara Jordan-esque, a woman of great stature and passion, and did so much for our community. And then the MC is going to be that wild and fun and zany Dee Dee. So
Dee Pennington.
The Dee Pennington. So no telling what she's going to do as mistress of ceremonies.
Now, these are held 4 times a year.
Right.
These outrageous oral presentations at S4 on Cedar Springs up in the Rose Room. Usually, between 100 and 200 people come to see each of them. They're also videotaped and available on YouTube, and you can go to thedallasway.org and see some of the previous ones.
Right. You can see all of them. They're all collected.
Free to get in.
Yes, there's no charge. You have to buy your own drinks. It's a great time to see old friends, to network, and just to be together.
I've never had to buy my own drinks.
What?
I've never had to buy my own drinks.
You haven't? Well, I had to buy my own. I think I bought
Did
you
you
a
get
drink.
hit on that much, David?
Well, you do have to buy your own drink unless you have someone that will be generous with you. But we've had such great speakers, usually lots of fabulous male presenters that have brought the history. And this is a particular evening for a celebration of women. And to be honest with you, it's because the men are outnumbering the women in the project. They've been the most aggressive, the most to be forthcoming with their tales of and their histories and sharing all the stuff that they've gathered. So this is, to be honest, our effort, the board's effort to get women to come, to share their stories, to participate, to see what it's all about, and to stay afterwards for, we're hoping, a little fundraiser, and so that the women can put some little money into the kitty to join the men, since the men have been outstanding.
And when you say a fundraiser, just collecting history, one of the things you're doing is collecting all the documents, all the T-shirts, all the photos, anything that people have over the last 50 years of gay and lesbian history in this city, or older if you have.
And then we're working with UNT.
Okay, so what are you raising money to actually do?
Well, okay, so I don't want to confuse the two events, because there's the outrageous oral, totally free, where we're collecting stories.
And it's really a major oral history project.
Right, absolutely.
And you know, lots of communities in this country and around the world have done oral histories where we have people who have the stories in their heads and their hearts, and they sit down and they share them and you record them so that others can enjoy them. That's really what an oral history is.
We encourage everybody to write their story, to read their story, to present their story, and then we do gather. And then we are pulling this collection together and to working in concert with the University of North Texas, UNT, and they're going to house everything so people can pull them and work with this and read about it, you know, today and long after we're gone. So we think it's an important and exciting project. So there is the outrageous orals. Then after that, the women of the Dallas Way are having a celebration of women, which is everybody still has to buy their own cocktail, but we're going to have light bites and conversation, and everybody's included. I hope all 4 of you will come. It's on a Thursday night, September 25th. But so after the event, we're going to have just a reception and time to visit, and we're going to network, and we're going to ask some women to open their pockets. No money, no amount is too small, and no amount is too large. So we hope people will come and see what we're all about and make a donation.
Yeah. Now, UNT is stockpiling and storing and categorizing and...
Right, the proper word is archive.
Archive, absolutely.
Yeah. David probably doesn't know what that is.
and throwing stuff into boxes. And they're doing all that stuff that librarians do. They're librarying it.
No, well, okay, that's your word.
Is that a better word?
That's a good. That's David's word.
Okay.
Archiving. Okay, so they're archiving it, as some of us would say in the community. It's already been accessed quite a bit. The Dallas Buyers Club, the movie, they got a lot of their stuff directly from the archive that had been submitted by us.
Yeah.
And people like us.
And the Resource Center.
And the
Yeah.
Resource Center. And and the Dallas Voice, and when I say us, I mean I'm just individuals who had stuff to give them. if you saw the movie, you saw a couple of T-shirts that people were wearing that were actual T-shirts or copies of actual T-shirts that we wore at the time. Like there was one, my favorite T-shirt was a Guts T-shirt, and Guts was a precursor to ACT UP. Because we had an ACT UP before there was a national ACT UP. And Guts stood for a Gay Urban Truth Squad, and demonstrating against Parkland Hospital and others who weren't providing service. But that was in the movie. Why? Because of the Dallas Way.
Well, in part, and we are very, what we really want to do, and thank you for having me because it's a chance to say so many people in our community have great stories, have boxes in their attics and back of their closet of things such as the Guts T-shirt that no one has, and we can pull those together and share them. And we can't, I mean, I really think it's an understatement to say the librarian, because it's a whole, they have a whole gay study. It's a whole college, and it's a whole department at UNT.
It is
and
now.
These kids are brilliant, and they're hungry for history, and they'll take and they're writing their thesis on the struggle of the gay community, and they're writing all sorts of stories, different people, of how being gay affected them young in life. And it's I think it's going to be an exciting collection at UNT, and it's something that people from all over the world, I think, will want to look for it, and especially these people. And other colleges have collections.
I just saw this week the Smithsonian is starting a gay collection.
So here's another first. We're doing it
Nice.
in North
We
Texas
did it first.
Yes.
Really, we did it first. The Smithsonian is collecting, but theirs is going to be more for flash. It's next to Archie Bunker's chair is going to be Will and Grace's, several things
Yeah.
from their apartment, and so it's going to be that kind of thing. But so it's more the cultural history and things that changed in the gay and lesbian community.
But hey,
they're starting.
any exposure is good.
But they started after we did. After we showed, and UNT showed that, well, we start collecting these things, and people really are accessing them a lot. And UNT is starting to get some good grants as a result of this collection, not because they have the collection, but because they have the collection, and it's actually being used.
Well, that's
So,
great. But
yeah.
we're a long way from being where we need to be. I'll tell you, the Dallas Way is, my board of directors may be unhappy with me to say this, but we're poor. We've really functioned on a shoestring, and by the goodness of others. And the S4, the Rose Room, donates that space to us. And we've been able to function just by the goodwill of many. And we're hoping to really make sure that every dollar we earn goes to the collection and securing these items and saving them and their preservation. But we've got some work to do.
Well, I know, UNT is just up in Denton, and I think it's so striking that there's this hub, this collection of things building over, 50 years of history, and just miles and probably right there on campus and radiating out are still young LGBT people who are struggling in their communities and their families, among their friends, for acceptance, for identity, finding themselves. And it's all juxtaposed. And so the struggle continues. It's right there in our front yards and our backyards, with these kids. And so I hope that they can come at some point and see and know that they're not alone, and that it's been done before, and people survived and were happy, had great lives.
And UNT is my alma mater, and that's where I graduated from in London. And I think there's a struggle for kids right on campus, current students. Was it just a year or two ago they had that vote about same-sex marriage, and just like a college support of it, and it failed. And this is by the student body. So I think this display of the history of archives, I think that will hopefully help, over time for those students who are there to come out, and for the other ones who are quote unquote against this.
Well, I think it's a real important thing to have on a campus. I know when our school, when I was in college and we started a gay studies program, I took a gay studies class. Why? because it was there.
Right.
I mean, I absolutely felt like I had to support it, but I also felt so supported by the school having it. I'm sure at Baylor you felt the same way, Patty.
Oh yeah, the LGBT studies program at Baylor was. I don't know why I didn't tap it when I was there. I don't know.
I think it's amazing that they even have a gay studies program. This is
I'm talking about in the 70s.
Right, in New York.
Yes.
We're talking about in
Still.
Texas. I think it's amazing that a public college school in Texas even actually has a gay studies class.
Well, I'm just going to tell you this. UNT is all in. They're actually having people come up to the university and they repeat our outrageous orals and invite people on their
awesome.
campus. So they have been great partners. They are amazing. I have a cute story about A&M. Our whole family is UT except for me, the Texas Women's University, but my whole family, 3 generations, Longhorns, Hook'em Horns, and our youngest is at A&M. And when we're taking the 3-hour tour, he asked me to go with him to select. And we're on this tour, and they asked if there were Greeks on campus, and they said, well, yeah, that's a funny story. And I said, what's the story? And it was that the Gay and Lesbian Straight Alliance wanted to petition the college at A&M to be a group, and they were denied, and they sued. And the judge was very, very smart. He said, it's public university. Okay, all or none. He didn't say I'm all in favor of the gay straight alliance. He just said all or none. Either you let everybody or you let no one. It's your choice. But you're going to be fair and equitable, which I think was brilliant. So they let them on the campus. So then the Greeks, who had been barred from being at A&M the whole time, did a little lawsuit and said, and they said it's a settled case, all or none. And that's how in 91 they allowed fraternities and sororities at A&M. My kid on the 3-hour walking tour, all the kids are up front, I'm in the back. My nephew goes, hey, Aunt Kay, doesn't that make you feel better about A&M? And all the parents looked at me. I'm like, yes, that makes me feel great. Thank you for pointing that out, darling.
See, the trailblazers. We are trailblazers.
We are trailblazers, so it's hilarious.
Greeks to get finally on campus at A&M.
Because of the gays. I think that's great.
Well, but when we're fighting for equality, and our logo right now is an equal sign, right?
Right.
We're not talking about equality for us and, to hell with you.
We have to have somebody to be equal with.
Right.
Anytime an equality amendment or an equality law can encompass more people, like in Houston, well, it was us who encouraged that law, but it also covers race and gender and veteran status and a whole list of other stuff. Where was it up here that just recently we passed something, but it wasn't just gay and lesbian, but it also included veteran status because we didn't have it included
and
yet.
Disability. And it's actually for the City of Dallas charter.
Right.
So it'll be on the ballot in November.
Wow.
To include a non-discrimination statement in the charter for the City of Dallas.
But
and
somehow,
that includes all of us.
But we're adding those things, if we find that, there's a different category, we're not saying, hey, that cuts into us. It doesn't cut into us. Equality is equality. It's for everybody.
Exactly, but somehow that gets twisted and interpreted as being special rights.
We need to take a break. You're listening to Lambda Weekly on 89.3 Knon FM. I'm Dave Taffet here in the studio with Larone Landis and the late Patty Fink, and Kay Wilkinson is our guest. We'll be back with more right after this.
You're listening to Knon 89.3 FM in Dallas and Fort Worth, the voice of the people.
Knon thanks you for your pledge to our recent pledge drive. Now's the time to make your pledge count. Send it in to Knon 5353 Maple Avenue, Dallas, Texas 75235. Your pledge only counts if you pay it. That's 5353 Maple Avenue, Dallas, Texas 75235. Be sure to include the name of the show you're supporting. If you missed our pledge drive, you can still support the station by donating online at knon.org or texting KNON to 56512. For questions about the pledge drive, 214-828-9500, extension 234.
Hi, this is Patty Fink, and you're listening to Lambda Weekly on 89.3 KNON FM.
And welcome back to Lambda Weekly. That was for our pledge drive, and this is, I think, our first pledge drive where every single one of our pledgers paid by credit card. Our pledgers from other shows, you still need, if you're listening and you pledge to another show and you haven't gotten your pledge in, get it in. But our show was all credit cards, so we're 100% collection.
Yay.
And it's all in already.
Yay, how
so,
fabulous.
I mean, that is great.
Thank you to
our
everyone
listeners.
who
And,
donated.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you to our listeners for consistently being those who fulfill their pledge. So we appreciate your support.
Yeah, our show's always at the top of that.
Right.
Yes. We're not at the top of dollar amount raised, but we are at the top of the ones who do pledge, do a good job of paying.
31 years, too. So,
Yep, we've been
good deal.
doing it a long time. This was my 370-somethingth pledge drive show.
So do we have
exhausting
a place, like a radio place, and in the Dallas way? Because
Well-
we've been on a very long, 31 years.
Oh, yeah.
Let me tell you, you have to write your story and present your story, and believe me, we will embrace that story with
Let's start writing, guys.
right now.
It's in there.
Let's start writing. Okay.
Did it. It's in there. It was
Okay.
one of the first ones that they got. One of the things what Kay is talking about is the Dallas Way wants one-page descriptions or stories of every gay group that's been around since whenever, every gay leader in the community who's done something for the community, and anything
Living
else.
or gone before us.
Yeah, and anything else that you can think of that would be a one-page, concise story. If you want to see what they're supposed to look like, I did the one for Lambda Weekly, and it's on the website, and the website is thedallasway.org.
And then if you want to tell a bigger story or give, you have so much more to tell, then you can submit that. Steve Atkinson collects those stories and makes sure they get on the website and to UNT as well. So it can be as large or as small as one page, but you can tell your whole story and we'll archive it and keep it for people to access.
I bet David did ours in like a 24-point font because he can't see, so we probably have 8 words on the page.
And he's been a speaker. He was an excellent speaker as well.
Yes, I have. And have you done yours, your outrageous oral, Patty?
No, I have not. I have not.
Why not?
But we should do kind of a media one because we have lots of folks in media, in TV stations and
Especially radio.
in radio,
Yeah, not just
and
us.
just personalities, and where we're out to
Well,
the
listen,
public.
call Mike Grossman. You've got his number. If you don't, I'll give it to you. And he's collecting for outrageous orals, and we're always 1 or 2 ahead. So any ideas welcome, and that would be amazing. And I charge you with calling him and getting on the docket.
Okay, we will do that. I accept the challenge. It doesn't involve an ice bucket, does
No
it?
ice bucket, just
No ice bucket
Just your
challenge.
story, my dear, your story.
It involves a camera. Okay, a couple of newsy type things that have happened this week. I found 2 stories. One of the things that the right wing threatens is, you have gay marriage, it's just going to destroy everybody's marriage, and it's going to really affect all of us. And they keep coming up with the cake baker. Here are a couple of venue people who it affected, who didn't want to do gay weddings. One of them's in New York. The owners of a family farm in Schaghticoke, New York, are being fined $13,000 for refusing to allow a gay wedding ceremony to take place on their property in 2012. Same-sex weddings began there 2011. The owners of Liberty Ridge Farm, which is a family-friendly farm and special events venue, told a lesbian couple from Newark, New Jersey, that they were welcome to hold their reception on the property, but not the actual ceremony. The couple who refused actually live on the premises, and the ceremonies are typically conducted on the first floor of their home on the farm.
Wow.
It seems like an odd... Anyway, here's another one. If I can find it, I can't find... Oh, the hunting club. Now, here's the place where you would expect a gay couple to have their wedding, at a hunting club. So, this hunting club this is Minnesota. 2 St. Cloud men were getting married this month, and they'll have their wedding ceremony and reception paid for by the Little Falls Hunting Club after they refused their site as the site of their wedding. The Minnesota Department of Human Rights announced the settlement Friday. It's the first of the kind in the state. They've had same-sex marriage for about a year or so. They started sometime in 2013. So this couple, who are 18 and 20 years old, that's so young for a gay couple to be getting married. They're 18 and 20 years old. They said Friday that they met last October, became engaged in November, and in February they inquired about having the wedding at the clubhouse after one of the kids, his stepmother, suggested it. Because, oh, my kids are getting married. Let's get married at the gun club. I'm not getting this. But, okay, all kinds. Anyway, the gun club refused, so they sued, and there's a settlement. What do you think?
Good for them.
What do you think? Okay, you're all for this, aren't you?
Yeah, if you're going to do it for one, you got to do it for all, as far as public accommodations. I mean, it's as simple as that.
Well, I agree, and I really think that any ENDA that we move forward that actually gets passed should not include an extraordinary religious exemption.
Oh, okay, and whether or not it was religious, it could have just been even. I'm just not comfortable. Okay, Kay, you and I are on an opposite side on this
yes.
one.
Really?
You know,
Yes.
I think
Yeah, they are.
I want to know, I mean, with the cake and with the place that I'm, you know, again, if I get a date first, but if I were to marry, I would absolutely want to be someplace where I am welcome and there is love in the room. So if someone does, I don't want anybody to feel like they have to, you know, handle the wedding or make a cake or do the punch. In fact, I'd be scared to death that they didn't declare and they weren't approved, because I want my cake to be filled with love and for my
And not
guest.
arsenic.
Yes. Well, I just don't want it to be, I just want it to be baked with love. And so I want the caterer that's all in and supportive, and I want the venue, I want the place to be surrounded with love. So I don't know. I'm, you know, in equal rights, it's equal rights.
Yeah,
I mean, if they want, I think they have the right to say, can y'all choose someplace else? For sure we can. And honey, we'll put those gay dollars in this other venue that welcomes us and loves us and supports us. And let's see at tax return
Have your
time.
wedding at the gay hunting club.
Well, I don't know about that, but maybe out of the
You got-
front.
That's next door to the gay Republican.
Yeah, you got to create one of those first, David.
Well, just wait.
Just wait.
It's coming.
I mean,
and you know, when I predict these things, I'm always right.
to some degree.
I
To some
expect to
degree.
do a story over the next 6 months about a gay hunting club or a
Oh, but
gay
you know what?
gun
Oh my God! I just thought about it.
Yeah.
When we were at the crack house, we did have a gay gun club.
There used to be a gay
Used to
gun
be a
club
gay
that
gun
met at the
club.
Resource Center.
That's right. That's right. That should go into the archives.
I guess it needs to. And let me guess, they had matching, you know,
Camouflage?
yeah, camouflage outfits.
But I'm with you on this one. While, of course, it offends all of us, we're not saying that it's right for anybody to say, oh, you're a gay couple, you're not having it here. Because, you know, it's hurtful. I wish these venues and cake bakers and whatever would just declare that they really don't want to do business with us. And we'll spread the word for them throughout the community. We'll be very happy to let everybody know.
But I don't get that, though. What if they said, well, we're not going to bake a cake for a black couple?
Exactly. Where does it stop?
I mean, really?
I mean, it's just
do
like
we support bigotry in our community and our commercial
when we go,
endeavors and
when we access any public accommodation, whether it's something that's as big and expensive as a wedding or something as simple as and inexpensive as going to buy a burger, we go to these public places with the, I guess, assumed subconscious, I thought that we're going to be treated okay. We're just going to get a burger. We're going to get decent customer service. Now, of course, everybody has bad customer service experiences, but most people don't walk in just going to get a burger thinking I'm going to be refused because I'm black.
And
I'm
this is more than
refused
just a burger.
But
Well-
it's the same premise. If you're serving a public, you need to be
Serve the
open,
public.
serve the public. End of story.
Well, it's interesting because I was in Jackson, Mississippi for a young woman that I've been mentoring and helping through school for her graduation, and I promised Chris Cavellis that I would take him to the best steak dinner in Jackson if he would accompany me to this celebration of her graduation from JSU. And I did some research, and I chose Ruth Chris Steakhouse in Jackson, Mississippi, and I took 10 of Brittany's friends for a steak dinner, not thinking anything of it. It's, May 2013. So we go to the place, and Chris and I get there early. We're having a cocktail in the bar, and I told her I'm having these kids, and to look for them and to look for me, and, we'd want to be seated right away. And I hear out of this same woman who'd been lovely to me, a white woman, treat these kids. I mean, say, do you have a reservation to be here? And did you call ahead? And I think, oh my God, who is that? And I look over, and it's my kids. And I went up to her and I said, yes, y'all go in there with Chris. These are my guests. I told you my guests were coming. I had to get I excused myself from my company. I went to I said I need to talk to the server who's going to serve me, and I want to talk to the manager pretty quickly, as quickly as you can. And I told him, I gave the server a $20 bill, and I said, this is just a piece of your tip up front, but I need to know that you can make this a very special dinner for these kids. I mean, they've graduated. Some of these kids are the first in their family to graduate. They've struggled to get here. They've worked to get here. And these are athletes, and Jackson, Mississippi should be proud of these kids, and by damn, I want them to have a great experience. And I said, are you hearing me, Mr. Manager? And they did. They made it a very lovely dinner, and the kids had a great time. But by damn, I looked around, we were the only 10 blacks in the whole place. It was bad. It was a revelation to me that in May of 2013 this went on. So
Right.
I think there are places that don't want blacks, don't want Hispanics, certainly don't want gays. And let me tell you, I want it declared because I don't want to be someone hands up that's shot. You know what I mean? I want to be, I don't know, I want to be welcome where I am.
Well, I think that it's on them to come around and treat everybody equally. It's not on us to enable their bigotry.
Well,
I
don't want to give them money for their bigotry.
Right.
But
I don't want to have to worry about, are they going to treat us well?
Exactly. It's like, again, you just go to a place and you assume I'm going to be treated okay. And, in Mississippi, now they have a law where they can legally discriminate against gays.
Right.
All you have to say is, it's against my religious whatever. And when it probably has nothing to do with that. It's just that they just have a huge disdain for us, and they'll use that as an excuse.
But they could say that and say, well, my religious belief says I shouldn't treat black people equally.
Exactly.
And so my religion says that I shouldn't treat disabled people equally.
Exactly.
My religion says that I shouldn't treat Jewish people equally. I mean, you could just go on you
and
could go
on.
anywhere you wanted to with that.
The things in our world that have been done in the name of religion.
And I totally understand, David and Kay's point that, you want to go somewhere where you feel welcome. But if the laws were there, most of the time, most people aren't so brazen that they wouldn't even say anything. You wouldn't even know how they felt. And it's kind of how it should be. I'm not there to get your opinion. I'm there for you to serve me.
Yeah, to pay for a service.
Exactly. I'm
Right.
paying for a service. That's all you need to give me. Every time I need to go out to eat or get my car washed or whatever, where I'm paying for a service, I don't need to give a dissertation about how you feel about
And we're
my
all
sexual
agreeing on
orientation.
this,
Yeah,
really.
I agree
think
with
we're
that
just
point.
coming at it from different points, that until it's just generally accepted that, look, some gay couples and some lesbian couples are going to get married. You're a wedding venue. You're a wedding cake baker. You're an invitation printer. Just print the invitations. There's no religious anything in printing the invitations. I remember years ago, some Jewish couples, gay couples that were getting married. In Judaism, when you get married, there's a religious certificate that you get. It's called the ketubah. And the ketubah is drawn up by Orthodox people. It's their business that they have, mostly in New York. And I remember a couple calling up there and saying, is it okay for you to do a gay couple? Their attitude was, it's business.
Exactly.
Of course it's okay. Because even though it's the religious document, it wasn't their job to judge. It was just their job to produce the document. Their only question was, you're getting married by a rabbi? Yes. Sure, we'll do it. It wasn't their job to say that rabbi is wrong. It was their job to produce it. That's the way it should be, and that's what religion should teach you. Religion shouldn't be teaching you to discriminate. But I think in cases it does.
But I think the discrimination is more so right on the brink right now than it ever has been before. People are eager to discriminate. That's why we have these laws. They want to be able to discriminate.
Exactly. They weren't even there before.
You know, and I've been traveling the last couple of weekends, and I was down in South Texas, and I was wearing a Wendy Davis T-shirt. And I thought, if I have car trouble, I just wonder, I mean, I really had to wonder, is my car gonna get fixed? You know what I mean?
Right,
I mean,
yeah.
You know, I really had to think about it because there are pockets and places in our own state where you have to wonder whether there are, motivations, whether they would even be fair in providing, standard service, not
Right.
substandard. It makes me fearful that could even cross my
I
mind.
think these kids, though, I think this generation, I really have faith in them. I think they are going to do it better. I don't think they see color. I don't think they see sexual orientation or sex. They really want to know if you're a good, decent person, and are you hip or you're not hip, or do you add in or do you not add in? I really think that these kids are going to do it better than we do and set up less boundaries and more inclusive attitudes. And I just think it's generational. We're going to lose a generation that is not as inclusive, and hopefully this next generation is going to, we put our hopes and dreams
Hopefully
on
they'll
them.
get it right.
Your
I do.
daughter.
Yeah. I do wonder, though, with all of these stories about being turned away from wedding venues or having baker deny to bake your cake, on the part of the couples, did they even think to do their due diligence?
Oh, probably not.
Apparently not.
I mean, the couple
But
that
how
was
would you?
18 and
Did they-
20.
Do they post it somewhere?
No,
I mean-
you pick up the phone and you call.
Yeah.
When Danny and I got married, even though it was Canada, I called ahead and asked, is it going to be okay? And of course they were like, duh, yeah. I mean, Canadians are just so welcoming. But I still called ahead. My
so
daughter.
sorry you're worried about that. That's what they
Exactly. No, actually, they were like, "Are you calling from the United States?" Yes, I am. Yes.
I'm from Texas.
Yes, I'm from Texas. Okay, we get it. Yes. I have a daughter. When we've taken her to get pictures taken or family photos, I call ahead. I want to book an appointment for a photo session. Well, just to let you know, this is going to be a gay family. Got a problem with that? I've never gotten an answer of yes, we will, but I ask ahead of time.
And this week, Gabrielle started school.
And, exactly. And Gabrielle goes to a charter school, which means you have to be accepted. They don't have to accept it. I mean, they didn't have to accept her. Well, when we got the acceptance letter, first it took forever to get it, like almost a year. So I thought she just got denied. So when I got it, I called.
Typical gay couple who applies for the spot in kindergarten
a year
before the kid is even born.
So when I got the letter, I thought this must be a mistake. So I called to double check, and they said, yeah, she got accepted. Okay, cool, fine. Can I have the principal's email address and da-da-da-da? So I got it all, and I wrote a letter or email asking, hey, just to let you know, thank you for the acceptance, but we are a gay. Gabrielle has 2 dads. Is that going to be a problem? I had to do my due diligence. And, luckily or thankfully, we got a response like really quick. Absolutely, that's not going to be a problem. But,
From Garland, Texas.
In Garland, Texas, But, when I hear these stories,
Progress.
just over in Bedford, Texas, what was it, just last year, there's, this poor kid was kicked out of a private school because he had 2 moms. So, I wonder.
Wasn't something the kid did even.
But it's
The
like
kid couldn't help who his parents were.
kid can't help who his parents are, and like, okay, did the moms actually? Did you kind of check before you enrolled this kid in school? I don't know. I do wonder about some of these cases. Did they do their homework at all?
Or are 2 dads more accepted in our communities than 2 moms? I don't know, but that's a whole nother
That's a whole
program,
other thing.
maybe.
Yeah,
Well, that was a religious school, though.
it was.
But, oh,
All the more reason to do your homework.
homework, absolutely. But you even said you're going to be really active in they've encouraged you, and I was saying so many of my friends that have children are the fundraisers and the organizers and the very active in the teachers' organizations, and it's a good thing.
Well, the latest study that came out on gays as parents show that gays actually make better parents. And this took out all of the other unequal stuff. Like, it took out all the parents who just got knocked up at the age of 16 and became parents. So they were comparing, like, you, Larone, you and Danny were in your 70s when you first had a kid. And they took people who were 30 years old having kids,
right,
gay parents, matched them with 30-year-old heterosexual parents, and they found there was still that little extra thing. And they think that just what you did is that little extra thing that made the difference. That what you were saying, Kay, that, yeah, we're the ones who got active in the PTA, and we're the ones there making sure that the kids, and we're the ones doing these things for the school, and you're saying, you're calling, I bet you're the only parent who contacted the principal.
Probably.
Well, the others didn't have a reason to.
That's right,
you
exactly.
did, and so you have one leg up on some of those other kids. If something happens, you have a direct line to that
we
principal.
fought so
now.
hard to be parents.
Yes,
exactly.
I think that's it, and so that we take it so seriously. And actually, the study said that the parents, and they used 2-parent households, that the parents did a better job of dividing which parent did the best thing. They didn't do the traditional roles. If you're better at getting the kid dressed for school, then that's you. If you're better at organizing the after school, they did a better job of establishing what is your talent as a parent.
Right.
We need to take a break. You're listening to Lambda Weekly on 89.3 Knon FM. We'll be right back right after this.
You are listening to Knon 89.3 FM in Dallas and Fort Worth, the voice of the people.
Every 26 seconds, a young person in America drops out of school. In an effort to change this trend, Communities in Schools has worked hard to save 1.3 million kids every year that needed funds to pay for dental or medical treatment, faced turmoil at home, or just needed an extra push in the classroom. Communities in Schools Dallas region operates in 64 schools in Dallas, Collin, Ellis, Hunt, and Rockwall counties, and they're ready to ensure every child gets the future they deserve. If you know a child in danger of dropping out of school, contact Communities in Schools Dallas region at 214-827-0955 or online at cisdallas.org.
I'm Michael from UNT, and I listen to Lambda Weekly on KNON 89.3 FM.
And welcome back to Lambda Weekly. I'm Dave Taffet here in the studio with the late Patty Fink and Larone Landis, and our guest today is Kay Wilkinson. We're just talking some, batting around some stories, and we were just talking about Gabrielle has just started school. Aaron just chimed in.
Yeah, it's just we were talking about this, and I'm kind of the opinion that it shouldn't matter. We shouldn't have to make those phone calls. And she says fairly emphatically, she goes, we shouldn't have to ask, ever. We really shouldn't, right? And I agree with her. And she says, that's not equality. The assumption should be otherwise, that we're free and equal. So, I mean, that was my point earlier, too, is that we shouldn't have to make those phone calls.
You shouldn't have to, but...
You shouldn't have to wonder if you're a black person, whether you're going to be able to have dinner there. You know what I mean? You really you
can have dinner, but will you be welcome to
exactly.
dinner? Right. I agree with her, but I think those of us who are older, I'm sure she's younger, that's been our struggle. You have to take a stand. You have to sit on the bus where you want to sit on the bus, and you have to march across the bridge, and in our case we have to make those phone calls and say, hey, we assume it's so, but we want to verify it so. Right. And I think it's important, and I think it's very few people would call that activist behavior, but whatever you call it, I call it stand proud and make a difference for your child, for your family, and for other families that don't call. That's what activism is all about. It's paving the way and being willing to hear bad news. And my mother used the word shouldn't a lot, and I worked so hard instead of saying you should, to say you might consider. So even though we want to believe that everybody in, August 2014 right. is evolving and inclusive and loving and nurturing and live and let live, for God's sake, and we've got to verify. We've got to verify when it comes to our family.
And I agree wholeheartedly what Aaron said. You and I basically have the same point of view, Patty, on this. You shouldn't have to, but we're not there yet. So you need to, so you can make sure that the next person won't have to.
Well, I think it's...
And I don't know, as far as I know, we might be the only gay parents in this entire school, and that probably never even came to the principals even thought.
There's 10%.
I'm dying. I hope I meet some other ones, but if I am the first person to call and at least raise the awareness to this principle, then good. Then good.
Well, I think it is a generational thing, like you were saying, Kay. We see these young kids, and they don't see color. They see their best friend. And the same with LGBT
or the gay parents
people.
are the most fun to have a bonding party with.
That sort of thing. And then we see this, on the news, was it yesterday or day before, with the old geezer guy that was from St. Louis County Police, who got suspended and probably is going to be fired because he stood up for an hour and railed against everybody that didn't look like him.
Yeah.
Women, people of color. He went on all down the line.
Well, it's time for him to take a break. Yeah, he's living in the past. And he's not inclusive, and he is hired. A police chief is to be, to protect and to serve, and he's serving no one but those that look like himself, evidently. And it's time to. It's a timeout, permanent timeout for him.
Good, and I think it's a good thing. But I think that generation, there is a whole generation out there that is plagued with that. Not everybody. Because we certainly there are many, many people in that age group that are wonderful.
Oh, we were just talking in my office. One of my favorite people over the last year was Lynn, what was his last name? He was the county clerk in Doña Ana County in New Mexico, who, when I talked to him, he's probably 65, 70 years old, and he's the one who started issuing marriage licenses in New Mexico. And I asked him why he decided to do that. Well, I looked at the law, didn't tell me I couldn't, so I thought it was the right thing to do, so I just did it. And,
Good for him.
I love him.
Good for him.
I love him because he just, and New Mexico's law didn't have sex specified in their marriage laws. It was just two people get married.
Right.
So it's what everybody is changing their law to read. Now, originally, when it was written 100 years ago or 75 years ago, what did they assume that it meant? They assumed it meant a heterosexual couple. It just doesn't say that. Well, as gay couples are coming out and marrying, and it doesn't say we can't, so I'm going to do it because it's the right thing to do. And he's like 70 years old, so it's not all generations. Some people really get it. I mean, this was the guy, and he said, well, we'll just go to court. If they're not going to let me do it, I'll just go to court.
And each generation has its naysayers and those who want to hold the line. And in our own community, we've had huge struggles. I mean, do we just ask for, do we go all the way full-fledged marriage with all of its thing, or do we do domestic partnership? And we've debated
civil unions.
Yes, absolutely. And do we march out, on motorcycles and bare-chested and dressed in drag, or do we march as we go to work? I mean, what path is the best? And back to the Dallas Way, that's what's so rich about our history and our fabric, because it's taken everyone from guts to act out to, laying down when so many people were dying of AIDS and downtown and chalking out that was my first time to do something that was really out there.
I was there for that one.
Deb
on
Elder.
City Hall Plaza.
Yes,
Right.
go down and chalk out your thing, and it just was so empowering, and to leave a candle on your body that you just inked out. But that's what's so fabulous about Dallas and North Texas, is that it's been men and women, activists in workplace, and little by little, the one who's willing to pick up the phone and the one that's willing to pick up the banner and march. It's just been everybody pulling together as a focus group to make a change.
As much as Larone doesn't really think of what he was doing as anything much more than just protecting his own kid.
Oh, I think that was fabulous.
I know that's what you were thinking,
Yeah.
first and foremost. And you weren't being belligerent about it. You were just simply asking, is this okay? If that made that person think about it for the first time, that's a great act of activism. I mean, and a successful one.
And many might say, I don't want to get another phone call like that. I want people to know. So they'll put something on their website. They'll put a statement on that acceptance letter of, how inclusive they are, and so there's an indication, and maybe that won't ever happen again because they'll have to have thought about it. That's a great point.
The Gay and Lesbian Fund for Dallas, it was an honor to serve on that board for a while. They've done amazing things.
Yes, they have.
About sexual orientation, and they take gay dollars, bundle it, and they say, okay, we're going to do this room at Parkland, but you've got to verify that you've got sexual orientation in your hiring clauses.
Non-discrimination.
Yeah, non-discrimination. And they've done that for so many. They give a gift, but
to a non-LGBT organization.
Always, yes. It's gay dollars bundled for someone who's not a gay organization. So, but it's done amazing things just to ask the question, are you inclusive, and do you believe in non-discrimination, and will you put it in your hiring documents and in any disclaimer about how you treat the public? So it's amazing.
It's funny, they did something to help when we brought in the exhibit at the Holocaust Museum that was about discrimination and the treatment of gays and lesbians during the Holocaust. And so they asked, do you have a non-discrimination policy in your hiring? And that's an organization that's so dedicated to not discriminating, they didn't even know. It was there when they looked, but it hadn't occurred to them to even think about it, because, they're one of those organizations that wouldn't even think about discriminating against anybody or thinking about it, but it was very funny how they didn't even know, and it got them to thinking about it. Oh, is it there? Are we protecting everybody?
Mentioning the younger generation, here's something that I have found, and we've talked about this. They assume that sexual orientation is already in a protected class. Right. And when you tell them that it's not, they're like, there's no way. Come on, you're already protected.
Well, the story that we were doing about the couple who was 18 and 20 years old, and they were going to have their wedding at a gun club, at a hunting club. Well, it never occurred to them that there would be an objection, because they're from a generation where there's just been acceptance. One of them's 18 now, so same-sex marriage began in his state when he was 16.
See, I want to tell those two, honey, y'all are too young to be thinking about marriage. Y'all need to date a while. And,
I agree.
But they probably believe in sanctity of marriage. So if they're going to be physical, they want to be married. Right.
But just to keep it totally equal, 18-year-old straight people get married all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, all right. And I tell them, too.
And I tell them, too.
Honey, hold on.
Wait. Yep, I agree.
Right. We don't necessarily want to emulate in every single way. we want them to do a little bit more of what we're doing, which is hold off a little bit till you're really sure, till you're old
Absolutely.
enough. And, the two of them are still in school. Wait till you finish school. So,
I remember one of the greatest Gay and Lesbian Fund for Dallas places was the small theater at the Women's Museum in Fair Park.
Yes.
And I just loved going there. And I tell you what, that was a conversation starter, because the times I've been there, people would look at that little plaque as you went in. There were two entrances to the theater, and you could see it on either side, whichever place you happened to move in, to see whatever was looping in there during exhibits. And it was a great conversation starter.
Well, because the name over the door was the Gay and Lesbian Fund for Dallas Orientation Theater. The reason that it was so important in that venue was their exhibits were of lots and lots of women. And I would take people to that museum and show them how they wouldn't mention the word lesbian. And you could just go down one whole exhibit wall where they just showed a whole bunch of women. And you'd go, dyke, 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 and it's not mentioned once. It really offended.
Especially during the Annie Leibovitz exhibit.
Exactly.
Well, I have to say, I've never been a fan of the word lesbian. I'm glad it's on the radio and nobody can throw tomatoes, but I've always considered myself gay. And I remember when I came out, my mother goes, "You're not a lesbian, are you?" I just hate that word. And I'm like, okay, well, why don't we call me a lesbian instead? I hate to tell you I'm gay. It's true.
That was the reason Dallas Gay and Lesbian Alliance took so long to add the word lesbian, because there were so many women in Dallas at that time, and it was a very cultural thing. We didn't have this divided community at the time,
We just wanted to be
particularly.
with y'all, gay.
And gay was okay for a longer period than it was in other cities.
Right.
But I think it was a parallel happening with the, women's movement.
Right.
To show some visibility, because, I mean, come on, early on there are a lot of, white males kind of running the show. And they kind of still do. I mean, we're just talking about that. We're having a women's evening in September 25th.
But they pony up. I mean, they give their time, they give their money, and they get actively engaged. And I have to say, women have, I mean, believe me, oh gosh, I'm going to get in so much trouble on the show, but women, there have been many women to step up, but not as many as the men. And so in all organizations, we've worked really hard to make it co-chairs, male, female, and to bring women in. And that's why I applaud Dallas, and that's why the Dallas Way has the story of men and
We
women.
got a call. Somebody would like you to repeat if they want to do a history on a person or a group or some piece of history, an event that happened. What do they do? The website is thedallasway.org, and then what should they do?
Well, they can contact any of us. We're all listed there. There's information there. Come on September 25th and see what we're doing. You don't have to do a live one. You can write the story.
Read some of the other ones that are
absolutely.
written. And then, do you know how many words they are approximately? About 300-400 words?
Well, here's the point.
Like that?
I mean, none is too small. No story is too small. They're small little vignettes, little stories and clips, and then there's long histories. So, get in there.
So
we want it
the
all.
first step, if you want to write one of these histories, contact one of the people who's listed
Absolutely.
on the website.
All the boards
and they'll
there.
walk you through it. There's actually a format even
Absolutely.
that they
There's
can
all
send
kinds
you.
of suggestions,
Yeah,
and you can read
yeah.
other stories. But maybe you have a new story that's totally unique. Bring it. We want it.
Before we run out of time, and my
Dave's
computer's
fighting
not
with his
coming up.
computer.
I am fighting with my computer. Florida finally struck down its marriage ban statewide. They had been starting at the bottom in Key West. Monroe County threw out the marriage law for that county, and then Dade County, then Broward County, then Palm Beach County. Well, finally, because their Attorney General,
Pam Bondi,
who is afraid that same-sex marriage is going to ruin marriage for the rest of us, and she did just get married for the 4th time. But she's been defending this law. By defending it and not just letting those rulings stand for the 4 liberal counties in Florida, which are the 4 at the bottom, on the East Coast at the bottom. By letting those stand, let them have marriage. So somebody sued statewide in U.S. District Court. Now that one's gone too, as of this week.
I bet she called Anita Bryant. They had a little cry session, maybe.
Okay, you were going to talk for just a second, and we have 1 minute. Donald Sterling.
Donald Sterling's mistress, whatever, who is basically claiming that she has been his beard this entire time, that he is in fact gay.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Wow.
You know what? When you're married already, why do you need a beard?
See, we got like 30 seconds left. Let's pick the story back up next week.
Okay.
Because I have a lot to say about it.
I bet you do. Wow. That's
We'll
pretty
do
amazing.
that. Kay, thanks so much for being
it's
with
been
us.
a
Thank you,
pleasure.
Kay.
Y'all have been
And
great.
You
Thank
come
you.
back. Definitely come back.
Anytime.
We need more women guests on this show too. September 25th at the Rose Room at S4 on Cedar Springs. What time does it start?
6:30. The doors open.
6:30. So let's all meet there again.
Thank you so much.
And we'll see you next week.
Knon 89.3 FM in Dallas and Fort Worth, the voice of the people.
Business owners, tell KNON's listeners about your business. You can put your business or event on KNON. KNON currently has space available to run announcements for you. Tell KNON's listeners about your goods, services, nightclub, concert, or event. Help keep the voice of the people on the air while putting your information on the air. KNON's been named the #1 radio station in Dallas by both the Dallas Observer and D Magazine. Put your business with Dallas's #1 station. Call now for more information at 214-828-9500, extension 227, or extension 233. For more information, go to knon.org and click on the Run Spots on KNON page. It's a great way for your business to support community radio while letting more people know about you.